We're now going to move to the next part of the evening or the afternoon, and that's going to be the growing endurance culture in sport. I'm going to request the panelists to please come up and join us on the stage. Deepak Raj, if you can be here. I've already done the introductions. I'm not going to take that forward again. Along with him, we've got Dilip Kumar from Rainmatter by Zerodha. Dilip Kumar leads Rainmatter at Zerodha, an investment initiative backing startups in health, wellness, and sustainability, shaping the future of India's. For the panelist is someone who comes from a country which I love, some great cuisine, great sports. Hosted the Olympic Games in 1960, Milka Singh, if one remembers. Veeri Parigi is the Director International Development and Strategy, Hyrox Global, and he drives the brand global expansion and bringing the world fastest growing fitness race to India. The fourth of them, we've got actually a Davis Cup team here, a 5-member team coming up. Shamal Velabji is a sports scientist and Herbalife expert. That's a subject which is so dear to all of us. Shamal is a renowned sports scientist, coach, and an author with 2 decades of global experience championing sports science, nutrition, and mental well-being. And the fifth of the panelists is Nupur Shikare, a fitness coach and Ironman finisher. Nupur is a fitness coach, Ironman finisher. Gosh, I can once again see an amazingly fit boy out here, known for inspiring athletes and beginners alike through his own endurance journey. Well, that's a journey which our 5 panelists are going to talk about this morning. We will start or take the big picture and the business. Right? I'm going to start with our friend from Florence and Milan, Veeri Parigi. What signals convinced Hyrox that India could be a breakthrough market, and how does the growth curve compare to mature markets like Germany or the United States?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. Very honored to be here. I'm not sure, to be honest, with such a great panel with most of it from India. I'm the right person to talk about the growth in India, but as Hyrox, we're very happy to be in India. To be honest, it was no brainer to come in India. As Hyrox, we want to be a global brand, and we can definitely not be a global brand without being in India. Not just for the numbers that India represents, but also because of the great country that India is. And we have seen a drastic growth in sport in India. Not just in traditional sport. I know India is cricket is a religion, but we have seen other sports really growing up, and fitness in general is also picking up. So it was really no brainer for us to come to India, and we were very lucky to have in Deepak and Joska a great partner to create a great platform to make it happen. The second question was, how is India growing respect to Germany and US? Well, I think if you just compare to these 2 instances, you are doing much better than Germany and the US did. Has also to do with the fact that, of course, Germany and US started very early in the process. As you probably know, Hyrox was created in Germany. So when the first race was a test race in 2018, nobody knew what Hyrox was. So it was really convincing people of a new sport, a new idea. So it was very difficult. But it took a long time before. If I think about, you mentioned yesterday the race had 3,300 participants. I think it took Germany to get that number 4 to 5 years, something like that. So if you compare to Germany, it's amazing. After it was just the 3rd event in 5 months, if I'm not wrong. So it's amazing. And the same is in US. US, we had a little bit of issues at the beginning because we were not. You probably know that US you either big or you go home. We were not big enough, so it was very difficult for us to leave the mark. But now everything is changing. Harrods is a little bit low in the industry, and we're seeing everywhere we go that the growth is exponential. And in that sense, India is no different from any other countries. We are seeing this anywhere, and it's great. And you were saying it's amazing, 3,300 participants, but I can tell you for sure that next race will be at least double the participants. And we have seen a lot of passion from all the countries, but yesterday I witnessed the same exact passion and atmosphere than in other countries. That's why I'm so sure that the next race will be even bigger. It will be double the size of this event.
Well, amazing. Amazing. Since you also drive the brand's global expansion, the same question to you again: can endurance in India be both a mass premium? What business model balances aspirations with affordability?
This is exactly what we're trying to do with the Harrods. That's probably the secret of Harrods, because we are trying to bring a sport that is accessible to everyone, because there are no big barriers at the beginning. We were making fun yesterday about coming from triathlon. Both of us used to run triathlons. For me, it was really bad results, but I love that sport. But you have a bike, you have a swimsuit, you have to go to a swimming pool, you have a lot of time and efforts and money to put aside to practice that sport. Harrods, it's really easy. A pair of shoes, not even a t-shirt. We were making fun because most of the guys don't even wear t-shirts. So it's really easy to take on. But besides jokes, it's just running and functional trainings, and all the functional trainings, all the functional exercises we have included in the sport are really easy to do. Of course, what it makes it challenging, which is nice, is kind of the repetition and putting everything together. But on an individual basis, they're really simple. So it's very accessible, and that's why I think people really like it. On the other side, it's the experience that we're giving, not just to the participant, but as you said before, also to the visitors. It's one of the sports you can really be in the field, and this is really true because we have the crossing points, or in some other countries we have, and we will probably have also in India, the bridges to allow people to get in the field, not outside, and so you're part of the experience, and that's why I think it combines the mass participation but also the premium experience.
Well, yes, that answers the second part in a very candid way. Thank you so much. Dilip Kumar, investment initiative backing startup in health. Investment, such a wonderful word, isn't it? From an investor's lens, where is the real investable scale, number one? Digital first coaching and nutrition of physical event intellectual properties.
First of all, thank you for having me. Great to be part of this panelist. I think one thing which is common across everyone on the dais is they've played sports, they've been part of the sport, and I think just to set the context, I look after investments at health across the board at Rainmatter. We are initiated by Zerodha. One of the reasons why we do what we do is essentially because we really want to see a fit India, and we can't think of a better way than playing sports. It's just such an natural and organic format to stay fit, and we want to genuinely see people around us healthy and fit. And this entire notion about why people should stay healthy and fit has been there for 100 years, but we have our reasons why most people are not in India. And we thought, can we create an ecosystem to support entrepreneurs like Deepak, who could create these venues for people in India to stay healthy. To your questions about digital coaching, nutrition, IPs around participatory sports, I think all are important. That's what we are trying to do. We have invested around 45 companies so far across health. We've deployed some, I think, around 300 crores just in health and fitness and sports. Participatory sports alone, we have some 4 or 5 companies, just companies who are doing, creating these very innovative sports IPs for amateurs. Not for, I mean, pros are obviously welcome, but mostly for mass crowd. So to your question, I think all are important. Digital coaching and nutrition is kind of a feeder for them to go out and participate in sports. And there's no better way to stay healthy. I'm seeing this narrative changing from the last 5-7 years, that we have to stay fit, and people are adopting to pick up any sport and then go out, play sport. So we are excited. We'll continue to support entrepreneurs. We are passionate about it, and we are really cheering for anyone who wants to do that. So I feel, to your question, all three are important. But yes, we are also, I keep saying it's sad to say, we are 1.5 billion people. We are a spectator sports country even today. We are not yet participating sport as compared to what US and Europe is. And that has to change. More people have to play sport. So we are trying to do our bit.
So 27 Ironman, for example, or some of my friends have done the same numbers. Someone from Pune, of course, which they know, Kaustav Bharatkar, an Army General, Vikram Dogra from the famous Pune horse, Ironman again. Well, I can just rattle out names, but this is obviously not the occasion. So the future looks bright with the two of them out here and the investment gentlemen. Leads me to the next part. So if you could push for just one policy lever, tax incentives, corporate social responsibility channels, or infrastructure investment, which would accelerate the endurance fastest? Yeah, I'm sure you know the finance minister well enough.
Just before that, by the way, we decided to invest in Deepak and support him because he has done this 27. That was his first slide deck. But I think all are important. But if you ask me to pick up, I think infrastructure, because not just for, endurance sports in particular, you have to be outdoor for running, for cycling. So I think we are doing a good job in the country to create this ecosystem around gyms, which are more indoor. We have to create a better job by creating outdoor infrastructure. Sad to say, we don't even have good roads, forget about better roads, right? So that infrastructure has to be created, and I won't put that entire onus on just the government. I think it has to be equally a public-private partnership in some sense. So more private players has to also come in, contribute, and of course the government. But infrastructure would be in top of my mind. And then of course, the other aspects you said, the tax benefits, CSR also has to flow in. We are doing that, but I think as a country we can do much more. Even today, if you say sports as a contribution of the overall CSR budget of the country is probably less than 4-5%. That's not good enough for a population of this size. And also it reflects on our participation in sports. Like if you look at Olympics, we are not even 100 athletes to send to Olympics. So if we want to be a country which has to host Olympics someday, we also need to be a country which is creating in a position to send athletes to be part of these world events. and that has to percolate down where we have infrastructure, we have financial support system, and all the other ancillary aspects which creates this athlete. So infrastructure will be top of my mind today. Lot of facilities are getting built, but yes, for mass participation outdoor, and then of course tax benefits, CSR, all are equally important.
Well, I'm going to get Deepak Raj going on the answer given there. Deepak was actually stated to be number 4 in my, or number 5 in my questions out here, but something which now prompts me to get to you. He did mention about a nation where we have a mass following, spectators, not participants. Do you think ventures like the top scheme, Neeraj Chopra's gold medals, silver medals, and so many others would inspire confidence, inspiration for the youth? I still remember a javelin where you would attract 6 to take part in a national event. Today we've got 70 plus. Yesterday, Shivam Lokre in Bangalore at this inter-services meet broke Neeraj Chopra's record. So, do you think that all that is helping the cause?
I think it definitely does. I mean, Nishant, a dear friend, in terms of swimming, if I can just take an example, because, and if I see now, I have parents who have even shifted jobs or moved apartments to be close to the swimming pool where kids are going for swimming. Now, so that's a change. And there are now schools with more things. So definitely, Neeraj Chopra and the others are inspiring. But at the same time, going back to what Dilip said, how many people are going to stay in that sport after a certain age? And even now, even though there are parents who are shifting homes and trying things, and I know one person sitting in the dais there, Monappa, he takes his son, 6 years old, to football, and I know how much effort and thing he takes. But for every person which is there, if you can have better facilities like what he said, I think there will be more. So I think it is starting to come together, but being open and honest, not at the pace we would like to, given the scale at which we are. That is what I would say.
Well, obviously, as I said 50 years before when I started off, none of these were heard of, and today it's all happening. Yeah. So, Parigi just mentioned about we will catch up with Germany and the US and Europe very quickly. We are now going to move to science, training, and lifestyle. Again, some fascinating words: lifestyle and science. Training was always there 50 years ago. What physiological risks or blind spots do Indian amateurs most overlook compared to the global athletes?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to the panel, listening, hearing so much. When we talk about professional athletes, it's very different from what we're discussing here because we are talking about amateur athletes, so the risks are completely different. When we put the magnifying glass on professional athletes, we have sports science teams that are really deep diving into everything using wearable technology. But if you look at the blind spots that our Indian population would face, there are a lot of markers that are right in your face. For example, 67% are vitamin D deficient. Okay? 47% are vitamin D deficient. For me, if you look at the 3,000 people that attended High Rocks, or you look at the 50,000 people that ran TMM in January, I'd say 70% of them are coming from corporate India. Right? And the bigger blind spot is that corporate India has a 2-hour sleep debt on a day-to-day basis. So these are blind spots. These are the blind spots that need to be addressed. And I think when I look at endurance sport, either through the lens of Herbalife or through everything, endurance sport in India is anti-fragile. It will grow. The individual will be the sacrificial lamb if he doesn't start to invest in these blind spots. If he doesn't start to get his certain blood tests, make sure he trains well enough, gets the right equipment, the right coaches, the right nutrition, tracks certain markers, he will be the sacrificial lamb. The sport will continue to grow. We will double the number next year. TMM will keep growing, right? But if you look at certain statistics, these statistics highlight the blind spots. Mumbai Marathon this year, exponential. 2018 casualties had medical interventions. 26 hospitalized. One had an angioplasty, 2 went on a ventilator. Unheard of in most countries. Right? This is the blind spot. The blind spot is we're catching a trend, we're excited, we're motivated, but we're not cognizant of the risks that we as individuals could face. And I think that if we start to look at it through these lenses, then we can circumnavigate a lot of problems and ride this wave of growth. But endurance sport is here to stay. We will transition undoubtedly from a spectator-based country to a participation-based country. We've seen this trend. When I came into the country in 2007, nutrition was a massive problem. Nutrition is now not so much of a big problem. People are acutely aware. We didn't have enough trainers, so we've got that there. We're now facing an epidemic of mental health issues and psychological issues. We don't have a problem right now with access to information, and access to resources and partners. We don't have that problem. So everything is a wave, everything is fluid and dynamic. And I think, as Deepak said earlier on when he spoke, he said we have to be cognizant of how we push out information into the public. We have to be very mindful, we have to be very empathetic with how we report. We have to really share the story through every single lens. And that's the way we're going to create true cognizance around these blind spots, what people can do, and how do we create safe mechanisms with what everyone's doing here so that we become a healthy nation. And endurance sport is the only lever that we can double down on to reduce the numbers I mentioned earlier on. So this is why I'm very, very excited, and this is why even with Herbalife we support events like this, because we realize that is the lever we've got to push.
So since you mentioned the word nutrition and recovery as well, I think some of the others also did mention about recovery, they get ignored. So if you had to fix this systematically, where would you start? Schools, corporates, or supplements access?
This is a phenomenal question, and I work in systems design with a lot of countries. If you look at historically, if you study the globe, there's systems where you double down on to change things. If you look at the United States, they have a collegiate system. So everything gets developed through the collegiate system. South Africa, in my country, we have a schooling system. So people get sent to certain playing, sporting schools, and they get nurtured through there. You look at the UK or Australia, they double down on what's called a club system. As Dilp was saying earlier on, infrastructure is a massive problem here. So clubs are not here, we don't have all of that. We're in a very, very unique position in India because we are writing the case study for a completely different system, and that is the corporate system. The corporate system is because 70% of people that will participate in endurance sports will come out of middle management and corporates. So that's the system we have to double down on. So how can we become more vigilant of the testing procedures? How can we get better food into canteens? How can we give them the mental space and the physical space to make sure they prepare for an event that we are signing them up for? How can we take all of these things? So we are in India writing the most powerful case study because, in my opinion, the corporate case study for systemic change is going to be the model that everyone else will have to adopt. Because whether you're in college or whether you're in school, you're still going to get into corporate, right? And that model's not being developed anyway. So if I had to look at systemic change, I would look at what are the ways in which partners like this can work with corporate India to create safeguards in place that reduce casualties, grow the numbers, and document it in a way that we can give the world a true solution that I know they will borrow for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Someone who's not only being a finisher, but someone who inspires the youth and whatever age group to take part in endurance events. You know, it could be the Ironman, it could be a lot of endurance events. Nupur Shikre was a coach and an Ironman. I'm going to make good friends with him after this. Obviously, we need a lot of people like him along with the others. Nupur, to you, what cultural shift are you seeing from the bucket list marathoners to long-term endurance lifestyles?
So, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here. Secondly, I am better at putting minds than putting words together. So, if I say anything, please forgive me. Yes, now, like everybody said, I remember first, that time it was not TMA, it was Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon. It was 2007, and I think we had 13,000 overall participants, including the dream, the half, and the full, if I'm not wrong. And last year, I think we had 53,000 participants. In 2013, I think when Deepak and I were a group, part of this WhatsApp group, which was some Indian triathlete group or something like that, I think there were some 48 participants, and now, I think last month Ironman Tallinn had 80 plus Indians. So since 2019, we have Ironman event happening in India. That number itself tells you that a lot of people suddenly are now inclined towards endurance sports and things like high rocks, and like Deepak also mentioned earlier that every given Sunday there's a marathon happening in some part of the city. Itself tells you that there's a big shift that has happened, and it has happened for good. I guess any reason that gets you going and gets you out of your comfort zone to go, I think it's a good reason.
Wonderful. Nupur, I'm a beginner. So, if I was to ask you from a 0 to 1 entry into endurance, what is the first practical first step that you would give me?
So, I think we all have gathered here for the love of sport. Do we all agree? So, my first thing to do would to tell anybody would be pick up a sport. Just to begin with, pick up a sport, anything that you like. Not only to get into any endurance sport or anything, but anything that you like. Play tennis, start running, any sport, and then build on it. Take that first step. That first step is very important, and then it all depends on your mindset after that.
Well, so as I said, a man of few words, but obviously he does all of that on the field, and that's exactly what we need. The likes of some of the others out here would speak, deliver, and Nupur out here would take it forward in terms of what's happening out here. Coming back to Deepak out here, by the way, I must acknowledge the presence of Commander Karthikeyan out here, along with a lot of big legends of greats out here. Commander Karthikeyan is a serving naval officer, and he has climbed 7 peaks in 7 continents. And his daughter, 16-year-old Kamya, has climbed 7 peaks in 7 continents. So that's the type of endurance that we're really talking about out here. Deepak, I'm going to come back to you again. We're looking at the ecosystem, so important, communities and policy, which is behind the scenes but becomes so very important. And what is harder, adapting global endurance intellectual properties to Indian consumers, or convincing global headquarters to bet on India?
Good question. I think convincing, Viri is here. I think he'll back me when I say this. I think everybody, like you were saying, India is a big country. Everybody wants to be here. I think we get their attention when I tell them, why is this not in India? But I'll take you back to 2013. I think there were a handful of people. Everybody in India, I think we knew each other if you had done an Ironman event. And I would show up in Ironman events right through from 2010 and 11. Each time walk over to the CEO and say, why not India? He would look at me and say, how many people are from India? I said, 1. I said, okay, I get your point. So it used to go there, right? So, and then it continued, and I think 2013, 2014, and then I quit my corporate career and took up this and said, let's develop the sport. And next year I went there with 5 people, 4 trainees plus Deepak. And like, look, we're not 1,000 yet, but we're getting there. So I think, but definitely they put a lot of trust and faith in India, the country, and thankfully with me, with respect to it, and it took a number of years. But what we told them was, we're not ready now. It's going to take me years to even develop the sport, and for others like Nupur and a lot of other coaches to sort of come through. But we have to start talking now, because it will take me years to even talk to this side of, to come back to your other part of the question about whether India and the government and the rest of the people will support me. So it had to be a parallel track, and saying, please don't wait until we have 1,000 triathletes to start talking to me, because it'll be too late or it'll be hard for me. So that was that journey. And in case of High Rocks, I think the fact that me and my team had sort of brought a global brand like Ironman into it, and one of the things which I remember telling Christian, Mo and the team was, we are a group which is passionate about the sport. We are the custodian of the brand and the sport, and we will grow that for you. I'm sure that mattered when High Rocks were evaluating us, and the comparison between Ironman and High Rocks. There's a lot of government and systemic support I need for Ironman. We closed down roads for a very long period of time. Triathletes are happy, community not so much, because on Sunday morning people have to take a long detour to get to somewhere. But after first year and second year, they understand why it's needed. High Rocks is very much indoor, so it was easy for us to adapt that. So it's a mixed bag, and even as a business for us, we wanted something which has a different demand from the government, from the community, and from us as a business. But I think global brands get attention or give us attention when we say we are from India. So that's been our journey till now.
Well, I still remember the first year that the Pune International Marathon was run. There were protests because it went through the lanes and the by-lanes of Pune, Lakshmi Road, Tilak Road, and some of the others. And 25 years later, it was accepted. Lakhs of people would turn up on the streets of Pune cheering the marathoners. I'm sure, like Ironman and some of the others, that would happen. I'm now going to take you to something which you did mention in your keynote address, but I want you to emphasize on that. And how do you see partnerships with brands? So important. Corporates, again important, or more important, the government, as catalysts to unlock the tier 2 and tier 3 cities for endurance events. You did mention about that in your keynote, but a little emphasis.
I think brands, I think we'll see Shreya talk about a few things later on, but brands are very important because the economics of sport, most participative sport cannot be executed in the quality and in terms of safety with just the ticketing revenue. So there is a business of sport which we need to keep in mind. As much as people are saying there are lots of events happening, and Shamal mentioned about 70% of it in terms of participation sport coming from middle CXOs and things. That means people have propensity to spend is there. One, from people, and two, if 70% are coming from the corporate background, there are also brands who want to tap into that segment and that TG. What you saw yesterday in terms of age group and things in High Rocks, brands, I mean, the best pitch for us to make a sales pitch for a brand would be, just come over, see our event. No PowerPoint presentation will do a better job than that. They saw the energy, they saw the vibe. So brands and relationships are very important. We need government support for permissions, road closures, and even commercial partnerships. Like Goa Tourism is our title sponsor for Ironman. We've launched one more in Chennai just 3 days back. The Sports Department Authority of Tamil Nadu is our presenting partner and sponsor. So in addition to all the support they give us in terms of road closures and permissions, the commercial partnership is equally important.
Well, we've been going on for 35 minutes by my watch. We could actually go on for quite some time. I'm going to come to the closing part of this, the first segment of our discussion, and that's going to be a quick fire, one liner, maybe a few seconds, future outlook and quick takes. That's what the question is. So I'm going to start with you, Deepak, again. In one line, well, you can add the second line as well. If you had 100 crore rupees, which you have, to invest today to accelerate India's endurance culture, where would you put it?
I think creating a few participative running events where there's a running event as close to where you live. Maybe it has to be free or something really there where we take away all barriers. How far is the race? How much does it cost? What do I get? Can I run with the community? I think putting up something like that will change, and if you have that happening more regularly, I think that will change.
Very to you, the same question. One line, if you had 100 euros to invest to accelerate India's endurance culture, where would you put it? The euro is stronger, obviously.
Wow, that's a great question. Here, from what we said, I think I would agree that infrastructure is probably the main point. Because I was hearing what Deepak said about people had to travel a lot to bring kids to do sports. That's of course is a barrier. I think if I could have the money and invest in infrastructure, that's makes everything easier. And then health, because I do agree with what was said, that we have to pay attention on that. I think it's also part of the growth of a country. The more people participate to events, the more people start putting attention. It's just also automatic because I want to be faster. How do I get faster? So I started looking at a way to get faster, but like recovery and nutrition are two key elements to go faster. And so automatically people will get healthier in that sense.
Well, I remember reading somewhere a few years ago that in the US and Europe there is a marathon. There are a dozen marathons which are run in every city every week. So multiply 52 weeks by a dozen is what they run in Europe, and so your mention about participation is so important. Dilip, the same question. Two-liners.
No, we invested more than 100 crores. So I think we are doing a job. I think there's a phenomenal opportunity which lies ahead of in India, both from an adoption consumer point of view and also maybe for entrepreneurs to create scalable businesses in health, fitness, sports. I think two particular aspects which is very close to me and for us at Zerodha is women in sports and kids in sports. I think very underrated today, and a lot more work can be done. So yeah, those two areas I would love to see more people coming and solving deep problems. But yeah, we'll continue to do what we're doing.
Shamal?
Yeah, thank you. 100 crores is a lot of money into one idea. I think I double down in two areas. One is medical testing and trying to get it as cheap as possible and as accessible as possible and as easy as possible, like how we did with COVID testing. So that's one. But there's an opportunity that's presented itself very recently in India, and I think everyone should take cognizance of that. Less than 3 weeks ago, real money gaming was banned in India, right? Which brought a few of my clients and a lot of other businesses down to the ground, which presents a unique opportunity, making participation sport the largest data set that we will get on how our population is moving forward. We have to double down on data capture in the most efficient manner possible, and we have to disseminate that information as quickly as possible. So I would double down there as well.
Well, Nupur, you are a coach and Ironman finisher. I'm sure you want to add something to this.
So, I ride on Mumbai roads, I run on Mumbai roads, and I hate falling when I'm riding a bike. So first thing that I would put my money in would be infrastructure. A simple story, there's a skate park that has been built in Bandra post-COVID, and suddenly I see these kids from nowhere do some amazing stunts. My point is that we have talent, we don't have enough access or infrastructure or whatever it is to go and perform. So that would be my first go. And after hearing what Shamil said, yes, definitely medical. Because once when you were saying something, some incidences have happened very close to home. So I would really not, I would like to avoid that. So infrastructure and medical.
Well, I'm sure a lot of us, including the panelists out here and the participant of yesterday's event, went to sleep late not only because of the event but also the Sinner Alcaraz match yesterday, which unfortunately, what, 3-setter was it? No, 4-setter. 4-setter, yeah. It's been wonderful listening to you. There were no red eyes out here, which talks of the fitness of the five gentlemen on the panel out here. It's been truly, and I'm not saying this as an anchor to just, or a moderator to just to flatter you all, but some great learnings for all of us, and I'm sure these learnings will continue in times to come. Thank you so much for being out here, and we're going to get to the next part of the event in just a few seconds.